kingdom, animal kingdom you were doing yesterday,
Hmm.
and then cell cycle and cell division, that and all I had for the test, so you had done revision. Then after I came to the breathing and exchange of gases, so since then I've been there for all classes, so we have
And
done
before
everything.
that, like plant kingdom, biological classification, these things
Yeah,
have
that
not been.
also, yes, we have done.
These ones, the starting chapters also I have done.
Yes, because I had a test, so I had asked you to explain it also.
So you're very caught up to date, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Just give me 1 second. Acha, but animal kingdom beginning I haven't discussed with you, right?
You have, ma'am. You
I
had
have.
explained the first half of the chapter because I had a test and the time had gotten over. So when you did your like last class, like, from there we had to start. So it was correctly coordinated.
So it's very according to the things that I've taught. Wow.
Yes.
Okay, just 1 second. Acha, is there any specific chapter that you'd want me to teach you? Apart from what is going on in the class? If there is, then you tell me. I just.
No, ma'am, no such chapter.
No. And do you have any upcoming tests?
I think I have an exam in September or October, but for that portions have not been given.
Acha. Okay, just give me 1 second.
Okay.
Okay, Sannidhi, so as far as the chapter living world and biological classification is going, do you remember things from that chapter?
Yes, ma'am. Not like sure, certainly, maybe not, but then once I revise, yeah.
Okay. So, and you have the notes?
Not all, I don't think so.
Okay, so let's do one thing today. Let's do biological classification. Okay, it will be like a revision only, and then we'll complete this chapter. Okay, switch on
Yes.
your video. Oh. So when we talk about biological classification, first we should know that what is the meaning of classification, right? So classification, you only tell me what is the meaning of classification? Whatever you understand, it doesn't have to be a perfect language and a sentence. Whatever you understand by classification, you just tell me. Something that you might understand from classification. No, nothing. See, say.
It's the process of classifying things.
Yes, that's true. But what is classifying something? Like, according to you, what is the meaning of class? Like in normal, what is the meaning of classification in English? What is the meaning?
Putting it in categories.
Yes, putting it into categories, putting things into groups. That is what classification is. So this biological classification means you are doing putting living organisms into categories according to the similarities, according to the differences. Okay. So when we talk about the classification, it has some things that are dealt with. Like for example, there is taxonomy. Like how there are different branches of science, same way taxonomy is a branch of science that will be dealing with the identification of an organism, the classification of an organism, and then the nomenclature of an organism. Identification means you're looking at something, you are identifying whether it is a plant, animal, microorganism, any of that sort. Then you're putting it into certain groups, and that is classification. And then you are naming that organism, so that is nomenclature. Okay, so taxonomy is the branch of science which will be dealing with all of these things: identification, classification, and nomenclature of any organism. Understood? Now, talking about classification, so obviously people in the beginning, they started to classify animals and plants according to what they understood at that time, right? So the first, like accordingly, they gave systems of classification. Now, what is the meaning of that? It means that depending upon what all criteria was taken by any person to classify organism, that was the system. For example, the first one is artificial system of classification. This one was given by Aristotle, and he said that he will be grouping organisms or putting organisms into categories depending upon their morphological features. Morphological features means depending upon their external features, right? So he said that those organisms that can move are animals, and those organisms that cannot move are plants. And he said that there are only plants and animals in the world and nothing else. Further, in animals, he said that all those animals with RBC, they will be called as N-ima, and the rest of the animals without RBC, you will call it as An-ima. That's what he said. This is not what we follow. And then he classified the plants according to the size. Like the tall ones would be trees, the shorter than them would be shrubs, and the tinier ones would be the herbs. Clear? So that is it. Now, this was artificial system of classification given by Aristotle in 350 BC. Imagine, before Christ, the time period, right? Then there comes the natural system of classification. Now, natural system of classification, it was given by Bentham and Hooker from 1862 to 1883. Now, they use these criteria. They use the external appearance, which is morphology. They use the internal structure, which is anatomy. And then they use the information about the cell. Cytological character means the cell information. And they also took reproduction into consideration. Clear? And after that, they published it in a book called as Genera Plantarum. Any doubts? Your video is stuck here.
No.
It's okay now. So now if you think about the natural system of classification, do you think anywhere are they mentioning the relationship between different organisms as a criteria? Are they mentioning it anywhere? Relationship between organisms. Like in all of these criteria that you see on your screen, are they anywhere mentioning the relationship between organisms as a criteria? Can you see it written
No.
on the screen? No, definitely
Yes.
not. So,
No.
yes, where can you see it?
No.
No, they didn't, right? So, they said all of the things that were actually true and useful to classify organisms. But the one very important thing is relationship between different organisms. So then came the phylogenetic system of classification, wherein phylogeny means evolutionary history. Now we are seeing the relationship between organisms, and this type of system of classification, it was given by Engler and Prandtl. So three systems of classifications are there. Understood? Very good. Now, furthermore, then once they divided the organisms, then they were able to form these groups. Like after the classification, you put things into groups, and these are the following groups. The highest or the biggest group is the kingdom. Then comes the phylum in the case of animals, division in the case of plants. Then comes the class, order, family, genus. Lastly, there comes the species. This is the order. The order couldn't be changed. The order couldn't be hampered. And if you have difficulty in remembering, always remember this mnemonic. Keep pots clean or family gets sick. K stands for kingdom. P stands for phylum. Clean, the C stands for class. Or O stands for order, family is family. G stands for genus. And S stands for species. Understood? So this is the way it will be arranged. There is no other way. Now, when you move from the highest level, that is the kingdom, to the lowest level, that is the species, the number of organisms decreases. But like if you imagine animal kingdom is a big kingdom in which we are also there, cats are also there, dogs are also there, horses, elephants, everyone is there in the kingdom animal. But now when you talk about species, humans are different species. Cats are different species. Dogs are different species. So the number of organisms when you move from the kingdom level to the species level, the organism number decreases, but the similarities amongst the organisms that increases. Clear? So now, after all of this, once the groups of classification were found out, then people started to give different kinds of groups. So initially, two kingdom classification was given. Two kingdom classification, meaning there will only be two kingdoms, that is animal and plants. That's it. This was given by Carolus Linnaeus. And always remember that Carolus Linnaeus is called as the father of taxonomy. Because of his work, whatever work he has done, he is called as the father of taxonomy. So initially, two kingdom classification was given. Then three kingdom classification was given. This was given by Ernst Haeckel. So he added a third kingdom, kingdom Protista. Okay, and he said that all the unicellular eukaryotic organisms will be present in this kingdom. Then another kingdom was added, which was the fourth kingdom. It was added by Copeland in the year 1956, which was the kingdom Monera, which had all the prokaryotic organisms. And lastly, the one that we study today is the five kingdom classification given by R.H. Whittaker in the year 1969. He said that, okay, there will be total five kingdoms. Kingdom Monera, which will be having all the prokaryotes. Kingdom Protista, that will be having all the unicellular eukaryote. Fungi, that will be having all the different kinds of fungus, plants, and then animals. Like these are the five kingdoms are there. Now the criteria for the five kingdom classification: cell structure, cell wall, nuclear membrane, body organization, and their mode of nutrition. Also, evolutionary history. All of these things were taken into account while making or putting organisms into each of these kingdoms. Is there any doubts up until now?
No.
Sure. Oh, very good. So now we have to study the first kingdom, that is the kingdom Monera. Now, kingdom Monera, this kingdom has all the prokaryotic organisms. Every single prokaryotes, they come under kingdom Monera. The majority members of this kingdom Monera are the bacteria. Every single bacteria, they are the members of Monera. Now, bacteria, they are very simple organisms, but they are very, very abundant. Like everywhere, bacteria is present. And when the earth was formed, the first organism to exist on the earth were actually monerans or the bacteria. Okay. So they are very, very primitive and they are very, very abundant. They are found everywhere. They are found in hot springs, deserts, snow, deep ocean. And if you pick up a handful of soil, in that also you have bacteria. Now, even though the structure of the bacteria is very, very simple, but they have a very, you can say, diverse metabolism. Okay, they are very, very diverse in terms of their body functions, but they are simple in terms of their structure. Now, Monera. Now, Monerans, they are of 4 types depending upon the shape. If they are spherical in shape, we call them as coccus. Okay, circular shape bacteria. If they are rod shaped, we are going to call it as bacillus. It's the most common form that exists. If the bacteria is comma shaped, then we'll call it as vibrium. And lastly, if the bacteria are spiral shaped, we will call it as spirillum. Now, in them, what happens is that their DNA is naked, meaning that their DNA is not surrounded by any kind of membrane because they are prokaryotes, so they do not have a membrane bound nucleus. They do not have that. So their DNA is just lying there. Instead, they have a nucleoid present. Understood? A nucleoid is present. Now, furthermore, when we talk about their DNA is a circular DNA and it is double stranded. They have a cell wall present which is made up of peptidoglycan, which is like a combination of amino acid along with sugars. Their cell, like the cell wall, is present in almost all of the members of the kingdom Monera except for archaebacteria and mycoplasma. These are the 2 groups of bacteria that do not have a cell wall present. Clear? Then they have ribosomes that are protein factory and their ribosomes are 70S type. Now reproduction in them is asexual mostly and their nutrition, it could be autotrophic or heterotrophic. Autotrophic nutrition is when they can make their own food, right? So we call that as autotrophic nutrition, in which they can either be photosynthetic if they are using the light energy, or they are going to be chemosynthetic if they are using the chemical energy. This is clear? After that, there comes the heterotrophic bacteria. Heterotrophic bacteria are the ones that cannot make their own food, so they rely on other organisms for their food. Like their nutrition could be saprotrophic, meaning they will be feeding on the dead and decaying. They could be symbiotic, meaning they can be present in close association with another organism, or they can be parasitic. They can harm other organisms to get their nutrition. Clear? So this is your their mode of nutrition. Now further, the monerans, they are of different types. For example, archaebacteria, eubacteria. Okay, so archaebacteria are those types of monerans that do not have a cell wall present, and they are the ones that can survive in the harsh environment, harsh conditions like high salt conditions. So those archaebacteria are called as halophiles. The ones that can survive in a very high temperature, we call them as thermoacidophiles. And the ones that can produce methane, we call them as methanogens. Clear? And where are they present? They are present in the gut of the ruminant animals like cows and buffaloes. In their stomach, they are present. Clear? Then comes the eubacteria. Now, eubacteria, they have a proper cell wall present and they have a flagella present to move around. Flagella is responsible for providing them with motility. Now, eubacteria, they are photosynthetic autotrophic organisms, meaning that they have chlorophyll in them with the help of which they can do photosynthesis. One such example of the eubacteria are cyanobacteria, that is also called as blue-green algae. Now, they can be unicellular, colonial, and filamentous. Unicellular means just one cell present. Colonial means several cells forming a colony. Filamentous means several filaments are there and they are present in that way. So, the cyanobacteria, they can exist in three forms. And according to the habitat, they could be found in the fresh water, like the water that doesn't have any salt concentration. They could be found in the marine water, such as the sea and the ocean that has salt present in it. And lastly, they can be present on the land as well. Clear? Now, if they are colonial kind, so their colony will be surrounded by a gelatinous sheet. Like for example, like this, how several members will be there in a colony. So their colony will be surrounded with a gelatin-like sheet so that they don't dry up. This right here in front of you is the picture of nostoc, which is a cyanobacteria. It is a filamentous type of blue-green algae. Okay, so they have vegetative cells. Okay, meaning their normal body cells are called as the vegetative cells. And the bigger cell right in the middle, the one that has a little different kind of specialization, they are called as heterocysts. And surrounded all around, they have gelatinous mucilage present. Okay. Now, it is because of the presence of heterocysts that these particular bacteria can perform nitrogen fixation. They can fix the atmospheric nitrogen. Okay. Why? Because this heterocyst, they have nitrogenase enzyme present in it. Up until now, do you have any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. So the heterocysts, they have nitrogenase in it, as a result of which they can do nitrogen fixation. Now, chemosynthetic autotrophic organisms are the ones that instead of utilizing sunlight as the raw material, they are going to utilize the certain inorganic substances and chemicals as their raw material, like nitrates, nitrites, ammonia, these things they are going to use instead of sunlight. They recycle nitrogen, phosphorus, iron, sulfur. They do all of this thing because they are using inorganic substances for their energy source or to make food. Now, when we talk about heterotrophic bacteria, so these are the bacteria that will not be able to make their own food and they will be relying on other organisms. And always remember that majority of the heterotrophic bacteria are decomposers. Meaning, if there is any organism, they will decay that organism in order to get the nourishment. Now, these heterotrophic bacteria, they are very important for humans. Not just heterotrophic, in general bacteria, it's not that they are always causing us harm. Many bacteria are very useful to us also. Like the curd that we have, which is made from the milk. How is it made? It's because there is bacteria present in the milk, which will do curdling process. So lactic acid bacteria or lactobacillus is the one that does this for us. It makes curd from milk. Then Many bacteria also help in the production of antibiotics such as streptomycin. Many bacteria, they help in the nitrogen fixation such as in the case of legume plants. So like rhizome. So like bacteria, they're very useful to us also, but they cause many diseases also. Many bacterial diseases in humans and plants and animals, they are caused because of bacteria. So like tetanus, pneumonia, plague, tuberculosis, leprosy, cholera, diphtheria, typhoid, all of these diseases are caused by bacteria in human beings. Clear? Whereas they also cause diseases in other animals other than the human beings, like anthrax and botulism are the diseases that are caused in cattle, like cows and buffaloes. Clear? Okay. Now, after that, talking about the reproduction in the bacteria. So remember that most of them, majority of the bacteria, they will be reproducing by asexual reproduction. Okay, asexual means only one parent will be involved, two parents will not be involved. So the most common type you might have heard, binary fission. Have you heard about binary fission before? Binary fission, yes or no? Hmm. So binary fission is the division of the bacteria in which firstly the genetic material is going to divide and then the cell is divided. So the main kind of reproduction that happens by asexual reproduction is binary fission. Okay, this is like the diagram that shows you how the fission takes. But during their unfavorable conditions, they do spore formation. It's like they will form an incestation, and when the favorable condition will come, a lot of spores will be made. So during favorable condition, they will do binary fission, but during unfavorable condition, they will do spore formation. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Now, apart from all of this, they also have one method of sexual reproduction that is called as transduction. It's like not actual sexual reproduction, rather it is the transfer of DNA from one bacteria to another with the help of a virus called as bacteriophage. So this is the kind of sexual reproduction that happens in the case of bacteria. So the reproduction of bacteria is clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then coming on to the last organism of the kingdom Monera, that is mycoplasma. Now, mycoplasma are those organisms that do not have a cell wall. They are like amongst all the organisms, they are the most tiniest one. Okay, they can even survive without oxygen. So we call them as anaerobic, and their size is 0.3 micrometers. It's like they are the living organisms that are the smallest ever. They cause diseases. One such example of mycoplasma is Mycoplasma gallisepticum. This is the scientific name. Clear? So with this, the kingdom Monera is completed. Do you have any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Okay. After this, there comes the next kingdom, that is kingdom Protista. Now, kingdom Protista has those organisms that are single cell eukaryotes, meaning they are unicellular eukaryotic organisms. Under that, they have certain groups, like how bacteria had archaebacteria, eubacteria and stuff. Same way, the protists, they also have like chrysophytes, euglenoid, protozoan, dinoflagellates, slime. These are the different organisms. Now, when we talk about the kingdom Protista, unicellular eukaryotic organisms are present that have membrane-bound nucleus and cell organelles. Their habitat is mostly aquatic. They are found in the water body. Some have flagella and cilia present so that they can move around. Okay, that is why they have flagella and cilia. And reproduction in them can happen by asexual mechanism as well as sexual mechanism. And in them, the fusion of the cell, the formation of the zygote, these things happen, meaning proper sexual reproduction is found in. The first kind of protists are chrysophytes that contains the diatoms and the golden algae. Okay. Now this group of organisms, they are found in fresh water, marine water, but yes, they are aquatic, they are not found on the land. They are microscopic organisms, and what they do is that they float in the water current. So they float along with the water. Many a times you can also call them as the planktons. Now, their mode of nutrition, like if they can do photosynthesis, so they are autotrophic. Then under the chrysophytes, a group of organisms are called as diatoms. They are specialized, or they are special. They are different because they have a cell wall which is made up of cilia or silica. Sorry, not cilia, silica. Okay, and silica is a very hard substance which doesn't get destroyed easily. So their cell wall sort of looks like a soap box. How soap box are there? It has an upper covering and then the lower covering. So their cell wall looks like that only. The upper cell wall is called as epitheca, and the lower cell wall are called as hypotheca. Now the diatoms, they are the chief producers in the ocean. Chief producer means that they are the ones that do photosynthesis in the ocean. Now, talking about the diatoms, so there is a phenomena that is associated with them that is called as diatomaceous earth. Now, what happens since their cell wall is made up of silica, so when they die, their cell wall gets deposited at the bottom of the ocean. Slowly, after several years, the cell wall deposit starts becoming a soil. Okay, like after billions of years. So this soil is very rough, it's very gritty, it's not smooth, and hence it can be used in polishing different things, and it is also used in the filtration process. So this soil that is formed because of the diatoms, we call it as diatomaceous earth. So they can ask you like, what is diatomaceous earth? So you should know this. Is it clear? Do you
Yes.
have any doubts?
No.
Okay, very good. After that, there comes the next group under the kingdom Protista, that is dinoflagellates. Now, dinoflagellates are those organisms that are found in the mostly marine habitat. They are photosynthetic, and then they have a lot of different pigments in their body, which makes them of different colors, like yellow, green, blue, and red. Now, their cell wall, it is like very stiff cellulose plates are present, and they can have, like they have flagella, but two types of flagella is there, longitudinal and transverse. So one is the very long vertical and one is horizontal flagella. The most commonly appearing dinoflagellates are red dinoflagellates. Example, Goniolax, Gymnodium. So these are the ones that have the property of dividing very quickly. They divide so quickly that they make the sea appear red in color because of their multiplication. And this phenomena is called as red tide, and it is called by red dinoflagellate. So again, very important. Remember this. Okay. Now, as a defense mechanism, they release toxins called as saxitoxins, so that if there is any predator coming to eat them, they will release this toxin and kill the predator. Understood? Now, the euglenoids, the next group, they are the connecting link between the plants and the animals. Now, euglenoids are the ones that are found in the fresh water, but stagnant water, the water that doesn't move. Cell wall is not present in them. Instead of a cell wall, they have a protein-rich layer, which is called as pellicle. That makes their body very flexible. Now, flagella is used for locomotion, and they usually have two flagella. One is a shorter flagella, one is a longer flagella. If there is the light present, so they will do photosynthesis, and if the light is absent, they can do predation, that is heterotrophic. That is why They show both the characters and they like form a connecting link between plants and animals. Clear? Now the pigments that are found in them, they are very similar to the ones that are found in the higher plants, like chlorophyll and stuff are there. Example of a euglenoid, the best example and easy to remember is euglena. Clear? Now we're coming on to the second last group under the protista, that are the slime molds. Now slime molds are those organisms that are saprophytic. Okay, they are the ones that decompose. But for now, you write down till here, then we'll talk about slime. Any doubts up until now?
No.
Oh, all right, you note down. Let us see. However much you will be able to write down, we'll see, and then we'll start with slime.
Okay, bye. I'm done.
Done, Sannidhi?
Yes, ma'am.
Done, Sannidhi? Any doubts up until now?
No, mom.
Done? Shall I scroll down?
Yes, yes. I'm done.
Done, Sannidhi? Any doubts?
Yes, ma'am, done. And no doubts.
Oh.
I'm done.
10th, Sannidhi?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So let's just keep it till here only, today's class. Now I will be sending